everyone, and welcome to another clay video. What's up? So, today, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I wanted to make some type of warrior ninja guy, right? But I also wanted to make a majestic bird. What do you get when you mix the two? Shen. Yeah, Shen, definitely, Shen. And to make said Shen, we need to start out with a base, amateur, you know? So, get that aluminum foil out of here. We need wire. And where do we get wire? Well, here it is. For me, it just teleports the screen. And we need some bolt cutters, I think they're called. I don't know. Wire cutters. So I'm gonna start off by getting a giant piece of wire and cut it. Snip, snip. Now that we have the wire, I shall bend and turn it until we have like a little upside down U, you know. And then I'll just twist and turn again until I have it into a pretty good action pose, you know, like a pretty good ninja, I don't know, bird pose, whatever you want. So now we need more wire to make like the body. Because the bent piece of wire is just gonna act as the legs, only the legs. So I am gonna turn another piece of wire into a U, another U shape, and turn it around, like twist it over itself so that it's double strong, and also so that I could just put it on the leg pose like this. So yeah, I'll cut it. No. I won't cut it. I'll use the tweezer things to turn it around and bend it until I have it right on the legs, like this. Now that we have our armature basically ready, I'll get some tape, I'll reform the legs, and get some tape, and yeah, it should turn out to be pretty cool, like this. Alright, so now we have tape that connects the legs to the body. Right? Now we can put on the aluminum foil. And because that's a pretty boring process, you already know how it goes. I put aluminum foil on every part of the body till I get the proportions right. I'm just gonna skip it right next to you, here for you. Got it? Alright. Now that we have our metal spiky drumstick, looking pretty cool, we can start getting clay. Alright, so I just want to cover clay in every part of the body, and yeah, I want to make sure no metal can be seen. Now we have our pretty soft drumstick. It's not spiky anymore. Woohoo! Now here in these scenes, I'm just smoothing it out, you know, using the ball stylus to do the last final touches on the armature, well, the clay armature now. Yeah, just smoothing it out so that I could put on some body definition or stuff like that. And now it's time to get to some other stuff. What other stuff do you ask? Well, stuff like making the head. So for the head, it's pretty simple since it's a bird. Not much to do. I just got a ball and I measured it on the neck. You know, proportions, seeing if they're white. Seeing if they're right. So I rolled it out a little bit more to get that symmetrical shape, you know, perfect shape. And well, Shen's head, it's kind of a question. His beak is oddly shaped. His eyes are kind of weird too. But that's what makes this character all the better. So right here, you see me making his oddly shaped beak. You know, it's like kind of wide, very wide actually, and like there's this weird bulbous part at the top of it. That's what you see me doing here, just getting a piece of clay, and like it's like a little bulbous part at the top, where like it's like a ball almost, not like a ball, but it's weird. Stick to the end and you'll see what I mean if you see the end result. And Shen's beak is on. I repeat, Shen's beak is on. Alright, now that Shen's beak is on, he has these like weird eyebrow things, like weird tufts of hair coming out of his head. And I want to get started on that. But before we can do that, we gotta like put more support in the bottom, because if it wasn't odd enough, it looks even more odd and weird if there's like no bottom jaw muscle. And also if we just leave it hanging, like putting a stick on a ball in the oven, it's basically gonna just fall off if there's no support from the bottom. Alright, now that we have that on, say hello to our Shen friend with his new beak. Alright, so now I'm just looking if it's gonna be good on the neck, and yeah, it's looking Shen-ish. Alright, so as I was saying before, Shen has these weird tufts of hair coming out of his head. He has very long, bushy eyebrows, and this weird like mohawk in the back. If you search up most pictures of him, you're gonna see it. But one more thing before we do that, we need to get the eyes done. Now Shen's eyes are a sight to see. He has like, his pupils are red, and he has these weird glands, like wrinkly gland circles that are on his head, and then his eyes are on those. So we need to get like giant circles on his head, and that's where the eyes are gonna be. But the circles aren't the eyes. They're like, how could I explain this? Whatever. You're gonna see at the end. They're like weird things that the eyes are in. Whatever. Let's just get to the tufts of hair. Alright, so for the weird tufts of hair and the eyebrows, I'm gonna need some wire, because they're like very long. So long, in fact, that if I made them by themselves, they would not support. And also, here's some ASMR. Alright, so now that we have one in the side of his head, well, now that we know where it's gonna be, I bent it a little bit, bent it some more, so that it's in, like that right gravity pulling it down, but it's still standing up position. So now that we have that, I'll get another piece of wire, shape it in the shape as the same of the other one, and I'll cut it where it's too long. As you see right here, I'm just trying to bend it to get in that right position. Bend it a little bit more. Try to get it exactly the same, Now I'll cut it again. Well, cut the other piece. Now that they're basically the same, kind of, almost, I'll bend the other piece of wire so that it's in the right position. Like I said, standing up but still gravity pulling it down kind of position. And now I'll get a piece of clay. Well, oh no, that wasn't clay. I'll get the wire, spin it a little bit. Yep. Alright, now we have them both together. So that I have like a prototype claw hand thingamajig. Now, we could push them right in. Yep. See if they're good. Maybe space them out a little bit. And yes, they're good. Now we get the clay. Yes. I'll spin it out a little bit. Make it into some type of worm, snake thing. And then I'll put the wire right in it. I'll leave some wire protruding out of the clay, because I want to like be able to dig it inside the head. So with the protruding wire, with the wire that's sticking out, I'll just use that wire to push it right into the head. And here's what it looks like with both eyebrow thing bushies. Alright, there you go. The head is basically complete. There's only one thing missing. But first we gotta check if it looks good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's looking a lot like Shen now. Well, if anything, it looks like a bird. An ostrich. And here's a close-up shot. Yes. Yes. my creation is coming out to be pretty good so far. Alright, so back on topic. To make the mohawk thing, it's like a bunch of weird feathers sticking out of his head. And I was thinking about how making them, and I thought, why not just make them like the eyebrows, just like a bunch of pieces together. And to show you what I mean, I'll get a long piece of wire, searching in the back alleys of my desk. And here we have it, long piece of wire. So I'll cut them into 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, and finally 4. There we go. Now that we have the 4 equal parts, well, some are a tiny bit bigger than the others, I'll put them all together and put them in like a triangle position thing, pyramid. So now that we have that, I'll get a piece of clay and roll it out. When I flatten it, eventually, yeah, I'll keep rolling it out, I'll flatten it and push it against them. Now, all of them are basically connected. I think you guys know where I'm going with this now. So yeah, I'll basically do this a bunch of times until I have the whole thing covered. Now that the whole thing's covered, I literally just like cut slits into it so that each wire has like a 1/4 of clay. So yeah, now that that's done, it basically represents feathers. Yep. We have some type of duck foot. Now we could connect it to Shen's head. Now this was a weird process, because if you try to plant down a flat piece of clay, it's gonna like bend and turn. See? It moves a lot. There's like no stability. So after some minutes or seconds, I finally got it down. Now Shen, he's looking pretty recognizable. I know all you Kung Fu Panda fans are loving this so far, I bet. Oh, and without further ado, I guess it's that time in the video. Please subscribe if you want more content like this, and if you don't want clay content, I must tell you that clay content takes a lot longer than regular content. You know, instead of gaming content, clay content, it takes a long process. And if you don't want to see this, you just want to see dino content, gaming content, just tell me in the comment section. I'll put aside the clay content for a while. But if you do like this, leave a like and I don't know, subscribe if you want more. Also, you should check out my last clay video. I made Scar, but that's all I'm gonna tell you. If you're a Disney fan, you already know who I'm talking about. But yeah, I make more stuff like this, like maybe once a week, and I'll continue with the gaming content. So if you don't like this content, just know that I'm not gonna be like putting out clay content videos for like ongoing for a month. Just know that I will eventually do another dino video, because the clay videos, yeah, they're more rare in my channel. This is my second. So enough of that. Now we have him on the body, and must I say, I am super proud of this. We have the head done, the body done, the legs done. It's about time we get started on his clothes. So if you've seen Kung Fu Panda the movie too, the second movie, you know that Shen is very much evil. He wanted to take over all of China, put an end to Kung Fu, and yes, he's very evil. But for some reason, he's my favorite villain out of the entire 3 movies of Kung Fu Panda. Out of the entire Kung Fu Panda franchise. I don't know why, but he is my favorite villain. Now, the reason why he is probably because he relates to Po, the main character, aka the protagonist of the entire franchise. He relates to him the most because he put an end to most of his family. And unlike Tai Lung or Kai, Shen is a personal villain of Po. Like, they relate with each other on a personal level. And yeah, I think that's why I like him the most out of the 3 villains. It's not about who's the strongest. It's just about who's the most evil when it comes to villains. And Shen uses his smarts to just be intimidating and evil. So enough about Shen. Well, that's what this whole video is about. But we have him connected. Woohoo! This is a landmark, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so now we need to get started on his suit. If you watch the second movie, you realize that he's always in like this long robe thingamajig. So yeah, for the robe, it was really annoying. But first, before we get on to that nightmare, it's time to get some shots on Shen. And might I say, I love this so far. Back on top, the camera goes. Alright, everything's good. Trying to show you how to do a thumbs up, but the camera's looking down on me. Alright, so now I wanted to make the robe. And I don't really want to show that content. It's just me rolling flat pieces of clay and then connecting them together. So here we go. Now that the robe's done, and also dumb, we can just put it right on Shen. Now, I know it looks like, yeah, it is a rectangle, but what I'm doing is I am gonna just like surround it by Shen so that it almost looks like a cape, but it's not. So it's gonna be surrounding Shen, and because it's like super long, but I'm also lazy, I kind of made it a bit shorter, and by a bit I mean a lot shorter. He's gonna be in that pose where like he's like ready to battle and his robe's just behind his tail. So yeah, we made space for the tail because the robe is gonna be like up. If you don't notice the robe. Yeah. Now that the robe is now that the robe's on him, we can let that nightmare go. It took 10 minutes, people. 10 minutes. That's why I call it a nightmare. 10 minutes. But hey, everything's good. Now that we have the robe on, I'll just like smooth out that piece of the robe where there's the crease. And yeah, let's get on to the next thing. I bet you won't know what it is. Feet! We're making feet. Not exactly feet. If you know Shen, you know that he always has these little armor things like that surround his feet. They have the like metal claws. So to make the metal claws, I'm gonna cut this circle into thirds. One piece standing for one nail or claw, talon, if you may. Now we have our main piece, which is gonna be the foot itself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flatten it out a bit, make it look like a weird triangle shape. And then I'm gonna use one of the thirds that from the cut up ball, and I'm gonna make little talons. Now that we have all the talons on the foot, it's time to get to the other foot. And because it's the same process, I'm gonna just cut. Now we have both feet on. So now it's only reasonable to do the other limbs. Now we're gonna make the arms. Well, technically they're wings. But, whatever. So, to make the arms, wings, things, I got a big chunk of clay and made it into like a flat triangle almost. But then like I flattened it down on itself, bulked it up, tried to roll it a bit so that it wasn't so flat. So now that it's in its form, I guess, I'll cut it. I'll cut like little pieces of it. And until I have feathers, sharp feathers. Alright, now I have 3 feathers, 3 sharp points on my hand. And something happened here. I made it too short. So I'm just gonna cut when it's just gonna skip to the part where I had a bunch of clay. It's too long. Yeah, as you see right here, I'm just measuring if it's gonna look good. And P.S. it doesn't look good. Looks like little nubs. So I'm just gonna cut to the part where it's long. Okay, now that it's long and it could actually have an elbow, I'll put it on the body. And the same arm is the same thing, just in a different position. So I'll just cut to the part where he has both arms. And must I say, he is looking awesome. Alright, that's enough of the close-up shots. We're gonna get started on the tail. For the tail, I literally just wrote out a bunch of little snakes and put wire in them so that they were stable. And I didn't show how I did it because it took 1 hour. So yeah, I was pretty ticked off at that moment when I realized that I couldn't show how I made these things. And I could. It's just more work in the editing though. So yeah, I rather just cut out the entire thing and explain to you how I did it. Alright, so right now in these scenes, you see the extended wire out. I realized that it was too much wire that was out. So now I rolled the little snake out and I covered up some of the wire. I didn't cover up all of it, I covered up some of it, so that I still had a place to stick the tail into. Like I still had wire to help me stick the tail into. And now here's some close-up shots of the tail. Now I am really proud of this. It took a lot of work, a lot of effort, but hey, we finally have Shen done, and I am happy about that. And now we have some pretty soothing content up next because we get to paint. So if you saw my last clay video, then you know that I forgot to show you how I painted it. And yeah, now I remembered, guys. I remembered. Woohoo! I remembered to use my camera and record the footage. So Shen's is pretty cool because his main colors are white, grayish kind of, and red. Those are his main colors, people. And that means that it's not that much work. And I'm proud of that. Thank you, Shen. So Shen is mostly white, like he's 75% white. And because of that, I just gave him like a few base coats of white. Now I know that I'm pretty sure Shen doesn't have this on his back robe, like on the back of his robe. But just because I can, it's my figure, I wanted to make the symbol, Shen's clan symbol, on the back of his robe. Just because I thought that would be like the finishing touch of Shen. And I know that he doesn't have it on his back in the movie. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have this. But I thought it'd just be really cool if I put it on his back, because that would just be the finishing touch, guys. So Shen's symbol it isn't that. It's not that bad, you know. It's really just the target sign with a few spider legs sticking out of it. So yeah, that is pretty simple, and because it's pretty simple, that's why I decided to make it. If it was something like, I don't know, if it was as complicated as United States flag, I would not make it. I'd just leave it as it is. So I switch out brushes to make the target sign, and I didn't really center it, but I mean, I think it looks cool from this angle, like on his arm and half on his back. And plus, every single part of his body is gonna have the signal, like his left arm, right arm, and his back is gonna have it, because the stripes, they go out pretty far. And look, I just make the little spider legs, as I said, more like crab legs or something like that. But now skipping when I finish it. Alright, now that that's done, we need to move on to the other symbols. What other symbols do you mean? I mean the symbols on his tail. So the symbols on his tail aren't the same as his clan symbol, but they're like mini symbols of the clan symbol. They're like tiny. Before we do that, the paint on the tail hasn't exactly dried yet. So I take out my sponge and I get to drying. So the mini symbols are like little feather, like they're just mini versions of the big version, but in a less complicated way. You know what I mean if you've seen the movie. But anyways, I'm gonna just show you how I do one of them and then skip when I finish it. So here's how I do one. Yeah, that's basically it with a black dot inside. Alright, now I shall skip. Now the tail's done and it's looking pretty good, am I right? So meanwhile, when I was making the tail and I cut to this part, I made a gray, like a weird gray shade. And that is gonna be for the eyes, beak, and legs. Oh yeah, and also I highlighted the robe. Yeah, by using that same gray, I gave the robe like at the end of it, at the tips, I gave it like a little highlight. But now that you know that, I did the entire robe. Let's skip to the beak. Alright, so we're at the head, and now I get to explain to you what those weird eye circles are for. Now, I painted the head before everything, and you see, I have to like move the camera. You see, it's pretty shaky content. So I did the head, get this good view of a very good view of hand and clay. Alright, so the eyes. Look at these slits. Those lines in the middle is the eye itself. And now I painted it white and put red and black. Now he is basically complete. And we're on to the shots. So here we are at the end. Thank you guys so much for watching, and also congratulations if you made it to the end of this video. I give you one last reminder to subscribe and leave a like, and thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Oh yeah, and also comment down below if you want to see any more content like this. Got it? Alright, bye-bye.